Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rizky Wahyu I will tell you about Islamic civilization in the time of Prophet Muhammad. The first relation and the first step of Islam. In the years 6010, the angel Gabriel appeared to Muhammad in a cave. It was then that Muhammad received an relation from God. The first relation to Muhammad through the angel Gabriel made him realize that he was the one chosen by God. At first, Muhammad was shocked by what happened in the cave. His wife Khadijah was the one who comforted and supported him. At the beginning of the first relation of Prophet Muhammad SAW began to preach Islam in secret. Considering the socio-political situation at the time was unstable, starting with himself and his close family. At first, the Prophet taught Khadijah to his wife to believe in Allah, then followed by his adopted sons Ali bin Abi Thalib and Zaid bin Harithah, then his friends Abu Bakar as-Siddiq. The next da'wah step taken by the Prophet Muhammad SAW was to appeal to the wider community. In addition, the Prophet also called on people who came to Mecca from various countries to perform the pilgrimage. The number of followers of the Prophet Muhammad, which was only a dozen people, was increasing day by day. They mainly consist of women, self-workers, and the poor. Isra Mi'raj, the night journey. Isra Mi'raj is an important event in the Islamic tradition. Mi'raj is Muhammad's ascension to heaven. Isra Mi'raj happened during a difficult time when he lost two people he loved very much. The event of Isra Mi'raj took place on the 27th of Rajab, 11 years after the prophethood. Isra and Mi'raj, in addition to strengthening the faith and steadying the mind of the Prophet Muhammad to face severe trials related to the mission of his message, also become a touchstone from Muslims whether they believe it or deny it. On behalf of the Yathrib residents, they asked the Prophet Muhammad to be willing to move to Yathrib. They promised to defend the Prophet Muhammad from various threats. The establishment of the Medina government. The Islamic year began with the migration of the Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina in 622 AD. The Muslim at that time was still in a weak position, unable to resist the power held by the Quraysh merchant in Mecca. Finally, the Prophet with his companions and other Muslims left the city and moved to Yathrib, which was then known as Medina, the city of the Prophet. Whereas in Mecca they are weak people who are oppressed, in Medina they have a good position and become strong and independent people. The Prophet himself became the head of the newly formed society and eventually became the state. First, the construction of a mosque, apart from being a place for prayer, is also an important means to unite Muslims and connect their souls, as well as a place for deliberation to discuss the problems they face. The Prophet broke brotherhood between the immigrants, those who immigrated from Mecca to Medina, and the Ansar, the residents of Medina who had converted to Islam and helped to immigrant. What the Prophet did was to create a new form of brotherhood, namely brotherhood based on religion, replacing brotherhood based on both. The third foundation is friendly relation with other parties who do not embrace Islam. In Medina, apart from Muslim Arabs, there are also Jewish and Arab groups who still adhere to the religion of their ancestors. A charter guaranteeing the religious freedom of the Jews as a community was issued. Tribes wishing to enter into the Quraysh or Islam alliance were free to do so without hindrance. Thanks for watching and your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.